Terry Knight is the owner of Schnapp Dragon Distillery in Takaka. This specialty niche business uses surplus local produce. The variety of alcohols made here has grown over the years. Now they're about to produce New Zealand's first tequila-style liquor.
We're about to develop and produce the very first tequila ever made outside Mexico in the name of Kiwi. Two old friends of mine had been playing with the idea for many years, and they, after importing some plants or some seed stock at the time, which was quite a journey through the system to get in, 16 years later, here we are with the plants ready for harvest. We're basically taking a raw product here, adding value to it, and setting it up for the future a wee bit more. The main challenge is that whatever we make has to age for so long. You often can be making something and you can't use it for really sometimes 4 years. The main purpose of this patch really is, it's more of a seed block for us to create a 14-hectare farm of tequila. We're waiting for their seed heads to mature so that we can then get the seeds and start propagating, and at this stage our aim is to put together 22,000 seedlings.
Serious.
The plant is a Weber Blue Agave Tequiliana, and there's 150 varieties of this plant, and this is the only one that is used for tequila. So there's a fantastic advantage in getting hold of these seeds, which we actually have to put in an oven to sort of warm up and heat to make them so that they'll actually germinate. In Mexico they have tools that are 2 meters long that they chop them over with, and there's very little mechanisation involved, but it's, to be honest, you know, you just saw that I got one of these in me and they hurt, and they not only just hurt, they stay in. One of the more difficult aspects of these are that they don't just have a prick on the end, but they have them right up the sides like this as well. They are very sharp. We tend to chainsaw them off. We chainsaw all the leaves off, get them out of the way, and then we dig right down very deep in there and we pull out a kind of a thing that looks very much like a pineapple. Now that pineapple piece is what we then take back to our oven and we cook in the oven with a little bit of steam. It actually sits at 126 degrees for 3 days of steaming, and it comes out of that like a wonderful sort of malt smelling large lump of mass that we then crush and grind and create a beer from that. Now it's virtually a beer. In the old days the Aztecs would make a beer from it virtually in that state. And the story goes that the first plant was struck by lightning, is how they discovered you could do this. But it's a wonderful story, but I'm not sure how much truth is there. But from that sort of baked and cooked large mass and the grinding, we make this beer. And from that beer, which takes up to 4, 5, 6 weeks of just brewing and bubbling away in an open sort of fermentation state, we then bring it in and we put it into the still. From there we distill it, we then age it for a little while. In fact, tequila ages a very, very short time in barrels to be, called a sort of a respento, but it's a style of tequila. Otherwise we make a blanco, which is what we're producing at the moment, which is just a straight tequila, straight off the still. And in another term, you'd almost call it a schnapps. In France, you'd call it an eau de vie.
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful.
I could make a margarita with that, eh?
I think so.
One of our major advantages here is that we actually have just fantastic water, and I actually think that's one of the reasons why the Kiwi tequila that we're making at the moment has such a lovely, clean and perfect taste, is that we work with a local company that bottles their water here. It's the same water as the Pupu Springs, Waikuru Pupu Springs. They bottle that water for Air New Zealand now, and we have an agreement with them to use that water. Yeah, and they used to use the cactus for many things, the sharp needles we used for sewing, the cloth we used to beat. There's basically 9 main tequila houses that are making tequila, but there's 900 tequilas on the market. The world demand for tequila is 10 million cases, and that's growing.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.